This is my 2019 Volkswagen Jetta, specifically the GLI model. I have just under 40,000 miles, still using the original brakes, rotors, and tires. Today we're going to be changing the brake pads using some upgraded ceramic brakes I got from Brembo on Amazon. We'll walk you through the entire process on changing your brakes and testing out the new ones. Let's go ahead and get started. This is pretty much how the brake kit arrived via Amazon. There was some little extra tape put here as some of the pieces were sticking out of the box, maybe a little bit too big for it. But it says, from track to road, every car deserves Brembo. So this is a Brembo genuine part for a 2019 Volkswagen Jetta in GLI. Also applicable for the Audi A3, the Skoda, Volkswagen Golf, and Passat. Let's see what's inside. Oh, nice, and they provided the brake grease as well. Even though I have a bunch of this, it's handy that they already provided. So yeah, so 5 things: instructions, bolts, brakes, brake grease, and sticker. They don't really indicate which side is which. And the plug for the sensor. So it's important to inspect the quality of your pads before you put them on the vehicle. So you can see here it has a solid inch thickness. Should be good for another 40,000 miles. Okay, now let's discuss the tools we're going to use for this brake change process. Alright, so with this process, we're going to need tools to focus on two major things: removing the wheels and removing the brake calipers, and then replacing and retightening the brake calipers and retightening the wheels. So the two things that we really need to focus on are going to be 2 sockets. So this is a 10mm socket, which these are the bolts that were provided with the brake calipers. So these are going to be used to tighten the brake calipers. And to make sure that the brake calipers are torqued correctly, we have a 3/4 inch torque wrench. So this works with that socket, and then it is adjustable to get it to the specific torque spec, which we'll look up before we go to tighten it. Next, for the wheels have a 17mm bolt. So for that, we'll need a few things. The car comes with a kit to remove the lug nut covers. So that will use this to pull the cover, like so. And then once inside, the 17mm lug nut will go on here, and we'll use a few different tools to remove it. Traditional breaker bar that comes with the car, impact wrench, and a 1/2 inch torque wrench. Now there's one other very important tool that we'll need in this whole process. This is a brake caliper kit. This has different sizes depending on the caliper. And what you do here is you'll feed this part through here, and then depending on the disc size, that lines up here. And then what this does is it opens the brake. So you put this up the middle of the brake caliper, and then you'll spin it, which will then open the caliper, which will allow you to make it bigger so that you could slide it onto the brake pads. Because the caliper naturally gets smaller and smaller over time, this will open it up so that you can slide it over the pads before you apply the brake for the very first time with the new pads. This kit I used to rent at AutoZone all the time. It is available on Amazon. I will provide a link to it in the description. Okay, just to make sure the car doesn't roll away. Put some blocks on the back of both rear tires. You're going to want to loosen the lug nuts because you want to use the leverage from the car being on the ground to make sure that they're nice and loose. Okay. Okay. All right, sounds good. That's good. Perfect. All right, now that the lug nuts are loose, continue to lift the wheel a good 2 inches off the ground so we'll have plenty of clearance to remove the wheel. Now with it in the air, we'll continue to support it using jack stands. The jack fails, the jack stands will catch the car before it smashes into the ground. Okay, now we can continue to remove the bolts. This is where I switched to gloves because between removing the tire and working on the caliper, it's going to be very greasy. This is not a good sign. This bolt has a ton of white from here to here. I don't know exactly sure why, but all the others look okay for now. So we'll probably want to replace that one with one of the extras I have in the wheel kit. Lots of rocks and bird poop all over the tire, but no punctures, very even wear. Tread still looks good after 40,000 miles. Probably need to be replaced in the next couple months, but I think we could wait until winter for that. Okay, so here's our caliper. And ignore all the dust. It is a nice sharp red underneath. You can see the pads themselves are way thinner than those new ones. Seems to be no damage at all to the rotor. So we've been able to replace these before the rotor was impacted, which will definitely save some time and money. The two bolts we want to worry about are in the back. So one's here and one's here. We also want to take a hanger or some sort of hook and dangle that there. That way when we take the caliper and it's still attached to the hose, the brake line, we'll be able to just hang it so that the brake line doesn't cut or become affected in any way. And when the caliper's off, we'll be able to clean these up and double check that the new pads fit the same way as the old ones did. So the first bolt we're going to get is right here. You can see that you could also do an Allen key or a socket. The socket will be stronger and easier to torque. Okay, for this first bolt that's down here, I got my 13mm socket with my 1/2-inch drive. It should give me plenty of leverage, but also too that this bottom wing nut might spin. So I'm going to hold that with my pliers. Okay, with any of these wheel and tire jobs, the mallet is going to be one of your best friends. Alright, nice and loose now, but you see that the wing nut is also moving. So let me hold that. Alright, now we could easily spin it off. And there's the first bolt off. And like I said, brake kit came with new ones, so I'll be able to replace these right away. Now that this first bolt is off, I could easily just spin this up. I'm going to slide that back onto place, and we'll take the top one off and then hang the whole thing up on the hanger. Okay, now we'll loosen the top one. There's a little dirt and debris falling as I hit it. We gotta grab the pliers, hold the top nut in place. All right, number 2 is out. So now I should be able to lift up the whole caliper and place it on. So we'll just put the zip tie through here. Satisfying zip sound. Okay, we'll use this to support just the bottom of it. Okay. So now we're going to slide the brake pads out and examine them versus the new one. They should just slide out towards me. There they go. Yes, you can see, oh, we're getting down really low there. But we weren't grinding yet. But all that dust was getting clogged in these little pieces in here. So now let's go over to the new ones and see how they compare in size. Okay, so we can see here's our old one. Here's our new one. The new ones actually look a little, oh, nope, if I hold it right, they line up to be just about the exact same size. So that's good, but you can see the difference in depth. New one, obviously, old one. Factory, Brembo. Big difference when you look at it like that. We're going to be stopping on a dime with these new ones. So let's get these put on. Okay, we're now going to grease all the areas that we're going to, where the brake pad's going to go, using this CRC brake and caliper grease. So even though the calipers came with a little packet of grease, I'm going to use my own, because this is a nice big brush. It's easier to use than these little squirty ketchup packets. So we basically just want to line these areas. So grease these areas in the back. once that's all set, we can slide it in. So we're going to start with an angle so that the pins tighten. And then it should just slide right in. So we're going to put the caliper tool into position, and we have the right piece for this. Just we'll open up a little bit so that's all ready. Okay. Down in position, spin this to open it. Spin it by hand. Okay, now the caliper is completely open. Okay, so we can get back in with our toothbrush and do a little bit more deep cleaning. Now next thing, we're going to remove our wires and cut the zip tie. And start to lower onto the caliper. With all the grease, it should easily slide into place. Okay, now we want to take our new bolt. We want the new bolt to be greased as well, and slide it in here. Now we just want to hand tighten the top one until we put the bottom one in also. And take the bottom. You should be able to open and close this. Line up the bottom bolt and hand tighten that. And the socket. Tighten it some more until the wing nut starts to move. And this one will tighten a little bit more with our socket. Next we're going to want to torque this down to... Okay, so now I have my torque wrench. This part was a little more difficult than I thought because I didn't have my torque wrench is 3/4 inch. But my sockets are 1/8 inch and 3 1/2 inch. So I got my 1/8 inch socket adapter to go into 3/4 inch. And now I can put that, and now I'm ready to go. Yay for tools. Alright, now we're just going to do it till it clicks. And we'll do kind of alternate between the top and the bottom. Maybe the top a little bit, the bottom at a time.
Now you want to pump the brakes and you will feel the pressure start to build in the brake line.
Thank you so much for watching. Come back for more videos, and we will see you next time.